stripped lowers, in receivers. You know, you may think, hey, we got some bands coming up. I don't have to buy a whole AR-15. I'll just buy a lower, which isn't a bad way of thinking, and pick it up for less than $200. The new form grew to 4 pages with entire blank page under the Paperwork Reduction Act. And in there, they've now added a new box for dealers to check. Brand new box. It says other for receiver. The feds want to know now who's buying receivers. Because previously, it was simply long arm. And there was no way to tell whether you had configured it, whether it had an upper or anything. But now on receiver, if a ban ever passes, and let's say something even put through as an NFA type issue, you're going to probably be forced to prove your pre-ban lawful configuration, especially when they have a 4473 signed by you that said you bought it strictly as a receiver. So that's something to be aware of. Then they threw another monkey wrench in as a trap for dealers. Any person 18 years old can purchase a rifle or shotgun from a dealer. So if there's a fully complete AR-15 rifle and you're 18 or older, otherwise not disqualified, you can buy it. But you want to buy that stripped lower receiver from that same gun just as a receiver, you got to be 21 or over. 21 or over. So why? Because the exemption under federal law only exempts rifles and shotguns for those 18. And since receivers aren't rifles or shotguns, they're other, you can't sell it. You can only sell the completed firearm to that person. Well, of course, what it does is create a trap for dealers who don't recognize this stupidity and have sold receivers to 18-year-olds that are strictly for, I don't care if it's a Mauser bolt-action receiver. It's still 21 or over for that under the new federal law or federal bureaucratic change. It's not necessarily a law. Yes?
One thing that my dealer told me is that he will not sell people multiple handguns at a time now, and his specific reason for it was he had a case where he sold somebody 2 pistols, did the background check and all that. There's a special form apparently that you fill out.
Right. Okay, I'm going to tell you. That's called, I'm going to give you all one of these.
Yeah.
Because I know we went over, and I want to make sure that I tell you all this to protect you as gun owners. On the back of this card is a system, and it works beautifully in conjunction with Ken's book, You and the Police. Yeah, which I would highly recommend as well. And I appreciate that. Thank you. And I want to go through this, and while there's handing that out, because I know we went over, and I'll be happy to talk to anyone for as long as you want, but I appreciate you staying here as long as you have. Pro Gun New Hampshire, I'm counsel to that group. Sam is here. This is a great gun group in New Hampshire. I think it should belong to all the gun groups, but definitely I want to emphasize Pro Gun New Hampshire. So we're here with a table, and Sam, I would give you these too. Anyone wants? Sure. And Pro Gun, we have an advisory board of legislators and people in the government. So we're working on the inside, if you will. Go New Hampshire, which I'm also a life member of, Gun Owners New Hampshire. They're the grassroots group. But we still have our membership, and we do this, and we try to work together here on fighting the bills. Part of this book, and part of what I even see my role as defense attorney and something that means a lot to me, is the entire Constitution. That's why we're here, of course. We believe in those rights. What I want to do, to leave you with nothing else today, because I see we're kind of over, I want to go over how to use this card to defend yourself. Because this has saved so many gun owners. This has saved people I will not even talk about, but are in this room. Okay? This card can do it, because I become the bad guy, which I love. But anyway, here's what you do. If you are stopped by the police, you have one question. That is, am I free to go?
Yeah.
Right. We got yeses coming here. That's right. And if they say to you, yes, you are, then you say adios. That's it. Don't talk. Don't nothing. Bye. Just goodbye. That's it. Now, if they say, no, you are not free to go, boom. Well, you know what my lawyer told me? Here's what he said. He goes, I'm not going to say anything. I want my lawyer. That's it. And here he is. And that's what it says to do. And look, I'll just wait to talk to him. You don't even have to be a bad guy. You don't have to be a hard guy. You just blame me, and that's it. And that's what you stick to. What?
You call yourself an attorney on there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I left out the other stuff. But I guarantee you the officer will be calling me that. Guaranteed.
Yep.
Because we're going to invoke S, which is remain silent. A, ask for your attorney, and C, do not consent to anything without your attorney's advice. Now, of course, Ken's book expands on all that. I expand on these concepts, but what we're all talking about is your 5th, 6th, and 4th Amendment constitutional rights. And none of you would give up your 2nd Amendment rights. Why would you give up any of the other rights? All the men and women that died for them, there's no reason on earth to give them up. And let me tell you from a criminal defense practitioner perspective, I have never, over 20 years criminal practice, never had a case where somebody waived their rights and it helped them.
Yeah. That's right.
Not once. And I can tell you this, if there's a problem in the case, it's because the guy didn't shut up, he didn't ask for a lawyer, or he consented to something he shouldn't have. The only thing I've ever seen is that if a person didn't waive their rights, luckily nothing happened. In other words, it was neutral. The best you can get is where you already are. So you say nothing and follow this. This is what will save you. Yes?
Does it even include like your name, stuff like that? Nothing.
Well, name, they can. There's case law in different areas and all, but, name. And of course, people, what about driving? Look, even though I'm saying all this harsh here, I'm not saying avoid common sense. And so there may be an issue, driving and whatever, if it's just routine. I mean, you got to make that call where you're going to draw the line in the sand. But without a doubt, police just come to you and they want to talk to you about something. Am I free to go? I'm not talking about nothing. That's it. We don't talk. And if you're going to subpoena me, then my lawyer will deal with it, and we're going to quash it if there's Fifth Amendment or other issues, and that's it. And there's no reason to talk. Yes.
Something I've been seeing called the Ridley Report.
Yes, I think
Ridley
Mr.
Report.
Ridley around here. I think he's
his
here.
camera right there.
There, he is camera right there. Okay. Yes.
One of the things that I was really amazed about was that filming the policeman's interaction, and then the policeman says, "Okay, it's time to shut that camera down." Now, I would never personally have the nerve to. I mean, I'm too chicken. Maybe I need to work on that. But for these other people, I'm just interested. Does a policeman have the right to ask them to do that?
What do you think?
He can ask, but you don't have to consent to it.
What if as long as he knows you're filming?
Well, in New Hampshire, you have to say I'm audio recording, like from Ridley.
There he is. If you see Dave, we're walking around. He has I am audio. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
I was actually just a perfect segue because I was going to ask a question. He obviously does that to kind of preempt wiretap issues.
Right. That's
the same thing be done with regard to open carry. Say, I am armed, so they can't say, well, your sweater was covering your.
I think you just want to. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
If it's open, it's open. Make sure it's wide open. But really, getting the carry. Oh, by the way, the carry in New Hampshire, I should emphasize, no fingerprints, no photograph. It stays local. There's not a centralized database. I mean, this carry license is a really great carry license when you get down to it. So for $10, I mean, I understand you may have a personal thing against licensing, and I'm not arguing if you don't want to do it. But if it's not an issue to you, then without a doubt get licensed, because that's going to expand all your protections to the max and give you reciprocities in a whole bunch of other states right off the bat.